What's good, Liberators? Fingers here, and this is Dx2 Demon Review, and today we are going to discuss the fighting fury that is Kartikeya. So let's check him out. A Hindu god of war and son of Shiva, also known as Skanda and Murugan. He rides upon a peacock called Paravani and is often depicted with 6 heads and 12 arms. He commands the army of the gods and defeated the forces of Ashura. Pretty cool. And as you can see from his design, he is by far and away the second gayest demon in SMT, second only to the legend that is Narcissist. Why do you say? Well, if the flying peacock didn't give it away, just look at that hat. It just screams Broadway, if you catch my meaning. So let's check out what makes Kartikeya such a fury. Okay, as you can see, the main event is the agility stat. Kartikeya has the honor of being the demon with the highest agility stat in the game, a natural 276, which can be boosted up to a legendary 296 agility, which makes him invaluable for stealing that first turn. If you are running a speedster team, this guy is damn near a 100% necessity. Even if you're running like a speedster magic team, just having this guy there to pass his turn, which is what I primarily use him for. I'm using him in mostly a passive sense, but just having him there to boost your speed by thousands and thousands of points, its usefulness cannot be underdescribed. His strength is admirable. 190 can cap it out at 210, and yeah, if you give him war brands, physical attack percentage boosts, you can get him critting for around 2k in your average PvP battle. I mean, it's okay, but I found myself using his attack so little that I wound up foregoing his physical attack for just straight nonsensical speed, and we'll get into why. And finally, he's got pretty decent luck, but I dumped my last 10 into Vitality because Kartikeya is made of paper. As you can see, he has, on my build, 1,552 health. That's with the 3 panels that add 500 HP to this guy. So he's usually sitting at under 1,000 HP when you have him baseline. And that is a big problem, especially considering all the cheap shot demons. You've got your alt certs, your Moray sisters, so you got to really watch out for that nonsense. As for skills, the transferable, great aim, plus 20% to physical hit rate, always good for any physical demon, but as I will discuss in a moment, not exactly something I use him for. Skill number 2, Mortal Jihad. Physical damage, 30% crit rate, power 155. Okay. If you boost it up, it boosts accuracy and not damage. And, okay, you can do something with that. It's not going to be that legendary damage. It's going to be one-shotting everyone in sight. But hey, you can finish off some guys with that, no problem. And the main event, and the reason we're all here, Skanda. While the demon with this skill is alive, all party members will receive the following effect: plus 15% to physical hit rate and plus 20% to your critical rate for every member of your team. How valuable this is cannot be understated, because as I've mentioned in past videos, whenever you're able to take a buff above and beyond your standard buff, the buffs in this game are very unified. Kartikeya, plus 20% to your physical attack. Flat. It's either on or it ain't. Kartikeya, plus 20% to your accuracy and evasion. It's either on or it ain't. But when you combine Tsukakaja, get that plus 20% to your accuracy, and then add this on top of it for plus 35% to your physical hit rate, it cannot be understated how valuable that is. When you're running a physical team, it basically ensures that you never, ever miss. Even those demons with ridiculous 100% plus evasion builds on them, if you've got Skanda on them, Tsukakaja on them, and Kartikeya on your team, you're still going to smack them down, no problem. And the plus 20% to critical hit rate, when you combine that with someone like Asura Lord, who we just spoke of, this boosts your team's crit rate into the stratosphere. Asura Lord has a natural 20% boost to the critical hit rate. Skanda adds another 20% boost. And with their third panels, they each add another 10% to that. So if you have a panel 3 Asura Lord and a panel 3 Kartikeya, you've got a plus 60% to your entire team's critical hit rate. It is phenomenal. And it basically ensures that you never fail to crit. Even on a basic, just regular attack, you basically crit every single time. It's come to the point where if one of my party members doesn't crit in PvP, it's like, that's weird. Okay, I must have rolled real bad on that one. And as you can see, I've got this skill maxed out at 6 out of 6. And that adds plus 20 agility to this demon, which is what allows for that 296. Actually, I don't even know if that's... I've had this demon for so long, I don't even know if his natural is 276, and this plus 20 doesn't even show is not reflected when you look at the stats, but still, plus 20 agility, whether it brings you to that 296 or if it takes you to above 300, either way, you want it, go for it, and go for it immediately, because that's why that is his first and foremost function, is his speed. With a strong minor in his physical hit rate boosting abilities. Can't be understated how valuable this guy is, and with his panels, it goes even more into the stratosphere. As for his passive, you can only get Kartikeya in the common archetype through multi-fusion, which gives you Speedster, 50% to own effect on battle speed. Again, cannot be understated. So incredibly useful. It plays into his strengths wholesale. Fantastic addition. Just you got synergy all over this guy. And as for the passives I put on him, to no one's surprise, Epitome of Swiftness, plus 25% to own effect on battle speed, plus 10% to evasion. But the main reason we're here is the battle speed. And with something like Epitome of Swiftness, it's a percentage boost. Same with Speedster. So it is less effective on demons with low agility. But with someone with 296 agility, that 25% speed boost is huge. So you might want to consider, if you're running Speedster and say you've got your Hero Masakato, you gotcha him with that Epitome of Swiftness, or any other demon, I think Angra, you can gotcha with Epitome of Swiftness, you might want to consider slapping that on this guy, assuming you're running him, because that will give you the most bang for your proverbial buck. And finally, I've got him with Fizz Pierce Weak, a relic from when I was using him in a more physical capacity. And if ever they came out with yet another passive that boosted speed percentage somehow, I would wipe this away in a cocaine heartbeat, because the Pierce Weak skills generally are only viable on like 2 demons that make them worthwhile. Probably Alice and Mastema are probably the only 2 demons that actually benefit from the weak skill. And it's there, it allows him to attack anyone he wants, which is okay, it's useful. I might swap this out for something else. I thought about like Endure or Enduring Soul, but in the end, I don't use Kartikeya for any attacking purposes. So outside of the initial storm of attacks that we level, he really is only there in a passive capacity and is not needed after that. So I've got some things to consider. If you guys have any ideas, please let me know. As for brands, as you can see, I just went full speed. Full speed, nothing, no regard for really anything else. Whichever one of my brands had the most speed percentage, I slapped on them with little care for any of the other tertiary abilities. But you can run him with speed brands and war brands. Like I said, he can hit pretty hard if you build him up with good physical attack. He can be critting with Mortal Jihad for around 2k in your average PvP battle. So that is something to consider if you're using him in that kind of physical capacity. Panels. Panel 1 reduces the cost of Mortal Jihad by 1 MP. And I want to say, I get it. Look, I understand. Mortal Jihad costs 6 MP to fire off naturally. You reduce it by 1, it means Kartikeya can act, you act first in the battle because Kartikeya is on your team, naturally, and he is allowed to use Mortal Jihad on that first turn. On that first turn. I get it, I understand it, I just don't find it particularly useful because all I do with him is pass, for the most part. But hey, it's there, and if he's going first in your team, he's got a real high critical rate, so you can often count on him only using half a press turn. If you want to fire him off right away at the start of the battle, hey, something to consider. And arguably his best panel, arguably, there will be a fierce debate on this, and the one you should go for first and foremost, plus 30% to own effect on battle speed. Combining this with his natural speedster, combining this with epitome of swiftness, you are rocking a healthy speed percentage boost, and it is unmatched by any other demon in the game. So I would recommend you go for this off rip. Just having this one panel makes Kartikeya insanely viable in PvP to the point where you don't need these other two panels. I mean, panel 3 is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but this is the main event right here. And considering that fusing Kartikeya is going to cost you around 9 million mag a pop, and if you want to panel 3 him, you're going to need to fuse one Kartikeya and then 12 more. So you can do the math on that, but that is a lot of mag. That's over 100 million mag you're going to be spending on this guy. So it will be a long-term project. So make sure you're invested in the speedster team you're building if you go for this. I personally would recommend it because speedy teams are, in PvE, in Origate, they are the standard. There's no downside to going first. In PvP, the downside is you start with less MP, but that's been balanced out more with, demons that boost MP and divine brands, and you can make it work. It's becoming more and more viable, that speedster team. So strongly consider it. Just know what you're getting into because he costs big time. And finally, panel 3. As long as this demon is alive, plus 10% to critical hit rate and plus 5% to physical hit rate of all allies. And for those paying attention, Skanda gives 15% to physical hit rate and 20% to critical hit rate. So this brings him up to plus 20% to his physical hit rate and plus 30% to your critical rate, which is insane. It's like having, you got Sukakaja on, well, now you got a double Sukakaja. Or you don't have Sukakaja on at all, well, you've got a natural Sukakaja just having this guy in the mix. Fantastic, top tier, and it's one of those things that can really put you into overdrive, can really help normalize your physical team, because if Well, I've said this before. Missing in PvP with the physical attack is a death sentence. So anything you can do to smooth that out, to make that as steady and stable as possible, is 100% something you are going to want to strive for. And that right there about wraps it up for the Broadway legend that is Kartikeya. I will link a couple of videos down below that shows him off in action, that shows him off in PvP. I also use him in my Full Moon Boss Rush. I will link those videos down below so you can see some applications for Kartikeya. But he can basically play anywhere you want him to. Having that speed boost, it plays everywhere in every aspect of the game. You know, from Brands of Sin to the Clown Park that they give us every month. So on that note, have a good day, Liberators, and do not, under any circumstances, get captured.